Fragrance in skincare is one of the most controversial topics in formulation. Some people love it, others avoid it completely, and for good reasons on both sides. Today, we're going to take a scientific look at what fragrance really does in skincare, why it's used, how it behaves in a formula, why it can irritate, and how formulators try to make it safer. Let's decode this together with real chemistry, no fear, no hype. Fragrance plays a double role in skincare. It's both functional and emotional. Functionally, it hides the natural smell of raw materials, which can be fatty, sulfuric, or even metallic. Emotionally, it completely transforms the user experience. A pleasant scent can make a routine enjoyable and even influence the perception of product quality and effectiveness. Most cosmetic bases have a base odor that comes from fatty acids, emulsifiers, waxes, plant extracts, and even preservatives. Some smell like wet cardboard, others like old cooking oil. Fragrance is often the only way to neutralize these off odors and make the product pleasant enough for daily use. Fragrance is one of the strongest triggers for memory and emotion. A tiny concentration can create a relaxing, refreshing, or comforting sensation. Brands use fragrance to shape product identity like soothing, clean, fresh, or medical, because scent strongly influences how we perceive a formula before we even look at the ingredients list. Fragrance also plays a strategic marketing role. A cream targeted toward teenagers won't smell like a mature anti-aging cream. Scents can be gendered, age-specific, or culturally adapted. In some regions, long-lasting scent is preferred, while in others, consumers want something that disappears instantly. A cosmetic fragrance is not a single molecule. It's often a blend of dozens or even hundreds of aromatic chemicals. These can be natural extracts, essential oils, or synthetic compounds designed for stability, reproducibility, and cost efficiency. Contrary to belief, synthetic doesn't mean low quality. It usually means safer, more stable, and more predictable. Natural fragrances may sound safer, but they're often more complex and more allergenic because they contain dozens of unpredictable molecules. Synthetic fragrance materials are typically purified, consistent, and easier to control. In modern skincare, synthetic fragrance is preferred for stability and safety, not for cost alone. And yes, fragrance chemistry is complicated. Even your skin responds differently from anyone else's, which is why formulating a fragrance is as much art as it is science. Fragrance materials are oily, and most skincare formulas are water-based. So, formulators need solubilizers like polysorbate 20 or PEG derivatives to make fragrance compatible with water. If the solubilization isn't perfect, you get cloudiness, separation, or even destabilization of the entire emulsion. In skincare, fragrance levels are usually low, far lower than fine perfumes. A typical body lotion may contain 0.2% to 0.8% fragrance. For sensitive skin, the goal is minimal concentration, just enough to mask the base odor without causing irritation. Technically, fragrance is not necessary. You can formulate a perfectly functional skincare product without it. And today, raw materials with lower odor exist, making fragrance-free formulas much easier to build. This is why fragrance-free skincare has become a true category, not just a niche. For people with sensitive skin, fragrance is one of the most common triggers of irritation or allergy. The molecules evaporate quickly and can interact with the skin barrier or mucous membranes. This is especially relevant on the face, where the skin is thinner and more permeable. Fragrance allergy is a real dermatological condition. Hundreds of molecules can trigger it, especially oxidized terpenes from citrus or essential oils. This is why regulations require brands to list 26 potential allergens separately when they exceed a specific threshold. Different cultures have different fragrance expectations. Some Asian markets prefer stronger, longer-lasting scents.
In the US, consumers often want nothingness, a fast dissipating scent. Europe is somewhere in between. This explains why the same cream may smell different depending on where it's sold.
Fragrance interacts with your skin's chemistry. pH, sebum level, hydration, and microbiome all influence how a scent evolves. This is why the exact same cream can smell slightly different from one person to another.
Fragrance is chemically active. It can react with light, oxygen, high or low pH, or even with other ingredients. These reactions can lead to discoloration, loss of scent, or breakdown of the emulsion. This is one reason why formulating fragrance into skincare is often more difficult than formulating active ingredients. Some fragrance components can disrupt emulsifiers, causing instability or changes in viscosity. They can thin a cream, break a lotion, or interact with surfactant systems to reduce foam. Some fragrances are even known natural defoamers.
That's why formulators must constantly test and adjust their formulas. Even a tiny change in fragrance can completely change the product's behavior. One modern solution to stability and irritation is encapsulation. Fragrance molecules can be trapped inside microscopic capsules that open slowly during application. This reduces harshness, protects the fragrance from degradation, and allows a softer, more controlled sensory release. Another solution is using pro-fragrances, molecules that are inactive inside the formula, but slowly transform into a pleasant scent once applied to the skin. This delays evaporation, reduces irritation, and keeps the formula more stable in the bottle. Fragrance materials are heavily regulated. The industry conducts extensive testing for irritation, sensitization, phototoxicity, and chemical stability. Despite what we hear online, fragrance is one of the most supervised groups of cosmetic ingredients. Brands targeting sensitive skin usually avoid fragrance or use ultra-low levels. In these formulas, the goal isn't to create a pleasant scent, but simply to remove the natural odor of the base without triggering irritation.
So, fragrance isn't good or bad. It's a design choice with real chemistry, real benefits, and real drawbacks. The best choice depends on your skin, your tolerance, and your preferences. Think of fragrance like the background music of a restaurant. It can make the experience wonderful, subtle, and memorable. But if it's too loud or too aggressive, it can ruin the whole meal. In skincare, the perfect fragrance is the one you notice just enough and forget right after. If you enjoyed this video and want to know more about the science behind your skincare products, subscribe to CosmetoScope channel.